Hello friends, hope you are doing well. Welcome to the first episode of the Electro Report. A friend of mine suggested to do a separate EV Australian report, and after reading a couple of stories this week, I was pretty much convinced to do so. First up, we have Victoria and South Australia states to tax EVs in 2021. Volkswagen in the race against Tesla, the return of a classic for this generation's of hipsters, electric bikes, self-driving put through the test, and super yachts get the electric treatment. Thanks for jumping in. We have some great stories for you today. Make sure to like this video if you did and subscribe if you'd like to see more, and let me know if you'd like me to do other topics like this. So let's roll the intro. Greenhouse emissions are bad, and they have nothing to do with greenhouses. In Australia, the transport sector accounts for around 18% of all emissions, whereas small vehicles account for 10%. Now, in Victoria and South Australia have said they are aiming to reach net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. Which is great, but just look at UK, who will stop selling new diesel and petrol cars and vans from 2030 under plans announced by Prime Minister Boris Johnson. So Vic and SA are going for the emissions trophy, and even in a longer span of time. So what do you think they should do to help their goal of net zero emissions by 2050? Well, of course you'd be right to tax electric cars. How else? Just a week after unveiling an electric vehicle transition plan for its government fleet and more charging infrastructure, the Victorian and South Australian Liberal government has announced a road user charge imposed on electric vehicles in 2021. The tax will discourage the uptake of zero-emission vehicles across the state, which I'm sure will really help them achieve zero net emissions by 2050. Other states have called the move a dud, and while there are more colourful words I could use, it sounds like an out-of-touch senator decided to find a new revenue stream without thinking of the consequences. I can imagine that after reading a report stating electric vehicles sales are going to go up by 65%, they thought, oh cool, are we taxing that over there? We should be taxing that, right? Let's tax it. Done. Now, Australia has very little incentives to get the wealthy to purchase electric vehicles, and at the moment, that's the only sort of group of people that can. So why not give them the tax cuts so they actually get rid of their vehicles and buy electric ones because they can afford them? Once more affordable electric cars come onto the market, we might not have this issue, but we should be giving tax cuts and push the rich into the direction that will help the country to reach the target. Let me know your thoughts below. How should the government help people to purchase greener cars? You know what would be great? If we manufactured our own electric cars. That way we'd cut down on the emission of purchasing them from somewhere else and getting them over to us. Next up, Volkswagen is in the race for your wallet. This time it would be for the budget segment, and while electric budget cars are not in the same price point as the word budget we're used to, the price tag of Volkswagen new budget electric car is around 25,000 United States dollars, which translates to about 33k in Australian dollars, which actually sounds pretty reasonable compared to the other EVs on the market. The Volkswagen engineers are racing to develop a purely battery-powered car around the size of a Polo, but don't expect Tesla to sit idle either. Rumors have it they are too in the process of building a car for that price segment. Now expect both cars to be released in about 3 to 4 years, but overall this is great news for the general public. These cars will be attainable for many, so let's just hope we get them in Australia too. Let me know if $33,000 is a price you would be willing to pay for a small electric vehicle. Next up, the return of a legend. The worker van of the 40s returns as a ridiculously priced electric vehicle for this generation's hipsters. The Morris JE is expected to enter production next year and will feature a 320-kilometer range, 5,500 litres of capacity, and 1-ton payload capacity. The price starts at 100,000 Australian dollars and will more than likely not be available here for many years, though I don't see why it can't be. This could be a great fleet vehicle for smaller businesses. As long as the government gives some incentives, we could see a lot of these zipping around delivering small goods. Next up, we have new electric bikes out of Taiwan, and while it may look like a toy, and yeah, it really does, the KYMCO F9 can hit a top speed of 110 kilometers an hour, which means you could hit the freeways if you wish. The 9.4 kilowatt electric motor is responsive enough to be called sporty, and the 96 volt 40 amp hour battery will give you around 120 kilometers of riding goodness. But what makes this bike different from any other electric bike? Well, it has an automatic transmission. Now, unlike other electric scooters and bikes which have one speed, go, the F9 has a 2-speed automatic transmission. This should translate into faster acceleration off the get-go and better efficiency at higher speeds. Now, apart from the clown size, it doesn't actually weigh that much either. With everything stripped back, it's about 107 kilograms. I'd love to see these on the streets of Australia, especially in our already crowded city centres. This could alleviate parking congestion for sure. Next up, Tesla. They reached a massive milestone last month when they released the self-driving beta software to a lucky few. Now, some of those few are YouTubers with a passion for EVs, and many have been putting out videos of them driving around with their Tesla in self-driving mode and giving it a test. Basically, seeing if it actually works. Now, Chuck Cook has been releasing videos every week on his experience with the software. I have linked his channel below, make sure to check it out. This week he released a video showing his Tesla yielding to a pedestrian as it goes through a stop sign and intersection. This gives me hope that machines are not going to destroy humanity that quickly, though time will tell. I will admit though, after watching a few videos of the self-driving test, Tesla has a long way to go, like a really long way to go. It was making a lot of mistakes, and Chuck has certainly pointed out a lot in his short few runs of videos. Now, onto our last story. The Tesla of the boating world, Silent Yachts, has ramped up production of their electric super yachts. At this stage, they have 11 boats out on the water already and have announced the demand has increased so much so that they will need to be starting to produce more and more at the same time. They have a 55-foot, 60-foot, and 80-foot version of the boat, which is fully solar powered with lithium batteries. The batteries are large and range from 150 kilowatt hours to 532 kilowatt hours. And as you enjoy the water, the batteries can recharge at a pretty quick rate from the solar panels. Now, starting prices are 2.7 million Australian dollars, which is chump change for some. So on that cash bomb, we have to end this episode. Make sure to check back next week for more videos like this. And if you like this video in particular, then make sure to tap that like button. And if you'd like to see more, please consider subscribing. Thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you all in another one. Bye!